Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 12th of June, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed down 0.5% today to 7,716 points, with 10 of the 11 sectors in the red. The materials sector was the worst performer as iron ore prices headed towards $100 a tonne. Fortescue Metals Group and Rio Tinto both fell more than 1%, while BHP was off 0.7%. Interest rate sensitive stocks also fell ahead of tonight's Federal Reserve meeting on rates. WiseTech Global closed 3% lower. Other poor performers included Wesfarmers and CSL. Woodside was the best of the large caps, jumping nearly 3% following an analyst upgrade on the stock. Best in the day was Helios, up nearly 9%. Nickel Industry was the worst of the top 200, down nearly 8%. Story number 2, oil prices are higher after figures showing a shrinking US stockpile pushed crude up. Now, Brent crude is trading around $82 a barrel. This, of course, suggests there will be some pressure on local petrol prices. So I checked what's going on around the country, courtesy of the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. Petrol prices, of course, are cyclical, so it's always worthwhile checking the ACCC website. Sydney prices at the moment are well above the peaks of last cycle. Very, very expensive right now. Melbourne prices are on the way back to their last peak. Not so good there either. Same deal in Brisbane. Adelaide prices are actually falling though, while Perth prices are at a low point. Story number 3, Apple will allow iPhone users to access buy now, pay later style loans from ANZ directly from Apple Pay, and is open to adding Afterpay and Zip to its digital wallet. Apple said ANZ was among a handful of global banks expanding services inside Apple Pay by integrating its credit card instalment payment plans. ANZ was the first Australian bank to let its customers make card payments directly from iPhones in 2016, forcing the other major lenders to respond, according to a report in the Financial Review. This latest move highlights a split from Commonwealth Bank, which is sceptical about ceding control of customers to Apple. Its boss, Matt Comyn, has been leading calls for more regulation in Australia, including ensuring bank apps can access Apple's infrastructure on fair terms. ANZ has more or less gone the other way and will let existing credit card customers create simple repayment plans at the time they wave their phone over the payment terminal. Currently, this feature is only available via the ANZ app after a credit card transaction has been made. Story number 4, the Guzman Gomez float is scheduled for next week, but not everyone is convinced it's been fairly priced. Morningstar brokers have done some work and reckon it's worth around $15 a share. That's about $7 less than what the group intends to list at. Morningstar essentially says its growth plans are too optimistic. Guzman is expected to float on June 20, be worth about $2.2 billion, but Morningstar doubts it can achieve its forecast of going from 185 stores currently to 1,000 stores over the next couple of decades. Morningstar says other listed fast food chains like Domino's Pizza and Collins Food, which operates the KFC stores, are better value for investors. Of course, if you're investing, get your own advice. Go and see a financial planner. We are not an investing podcast. And finally, story number 5, President Joe Biden's son Hunter was convicted overnight by a jury of lying about his drug use to illegally buy a gun, making him the first child of a sitting US president to be convicted of a crime. A 12-member jury in Wilmington, Delaware, the Biden's hometown, found the defendant guilty on all 3 counts against him, according to Reuters. The 54-year-old lightly nodded his head after the verdict was read, but otherwise showed little reaction. Hunter Biden faces up to 25 years in prison when he's sentenced, though as a first-time offender, he's unlikely to get anywhere near the maximum. In fact, there's no guarantee the judge would send him to prison. The judge did not set a sentencing date. President Joe Biden said in a statement issued shortly after the verdict that he would accept the outcome and, I quote, continue to respect the judicial process as Hunter considers an appeal, end quote. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 12th of June, 2024. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Thursday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.